Hi guys, Fights with Friends here, and we are here for one of the last episodes of this season of Ultimate Fighter Undefeated. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Finale will be on July 6th, of course the day after, July 7th. We'll finally get to see Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier get into the cage. Now last week we seen Stipe Miocic's guys, his two, I believe it was middleweights, jump in there against each other. This week, Cormier gets to see two of his guys go against each other. So he's been coaching him the entire time. There's no coaching him now. Do you need something, young David? Okay, you're hovering over me. Oh, okay.
Is it hitting you?
Yeah, thank you. Come say hi, young David. I'm going to start playing the Barney song.
Hey.
David loves the Barney song.
Hey.
Just kidding. Here, get on the camera. There you go. Everybody wants to see young David. All right. Peace out. Thank you, David. All right. This is a pretty big week. I don't know if this is going to be the last season of this. As I've said before, I think maybe it should be, to be honest, because, quite frankly, I think the Ultimate Fighter has been replaced by Dana White's Contender series. But, you know, we'll see. It's still an interesting thing. I like Dana White's Contender series actually better, but this is great. You know, it's a different thing. You got the drama, you got the house, you got all this other stuff. You know, Dana White's Contender series, it's you got to fight and you got to fight. That's it, you know. So, man, was Dana White's Contender series absolutely incredible, though. Absolutely incredible. Everybody that watched it yesterday, on Tuesday, wasn't that great? 4 contracts. You know, Dana, one time last season, he gave away 3 contracts. I thought the first week of this season, he definitely could have given away 3 contracts. He did not. Yesterday, the performances were so incredible. 5 fights, he gave away 4 contracts. He honestly could have gave away 5 contracts. That's how good it was. So, I said I was very impressed. And we'll see what's next. We'll see who comes out of this. But one thing we know is every year in the Ultimate Fighter, talent comes out of it. And we see him go into the UFC. Michael Chiesa, a guy who is an example of that, obviously a good example of that, will be on the show today. And he's going to come and talk to these guys about the importance of, you know, of selling themselves and starting to realize that they're not, you know, they're not what they used to be. They're going to be looked at differently now, and they're going to need to learn to embrace that. And they can't run away from it at this point. They need to learn to embrace it. And that's why they came on the show. They need to learn to not just fight and win this thing. They need to learn to sell themselves. And that's what they're going to learn. I'm not sure Michael Chiesa has been the best guy at selling himself, but I don't think he's done a bad job. He could speak up a little more, but he's not a guy that's real quiet on the mic after, you know, after a win.
Well, he managed to sell him. Well, he managed to sell his ability to talk about how to sell yourself to Dana. So
that's true. They invited him. Yeah, they did invite him back on the Ultimate Fighter to talk to the fighters. So very good point, young David. So I don't know who's going to win this fight, but there's obviously, a favorite. Bryce Mitchell was one of the big favorites coming into this. And the whole thing, featherweight in a division. And the guy's 9-0. He's got 8 submissions. He's had good competition. He's facing Brad Katona, who's been kind of a surprise in this thing. And he's finished, I believe, all his opponents in a numerous different ways. And he's shown that his jiu-jitsu can stand with a lot of people's jiu-jitsu. So there's no guarantee Bryce is just going to be able to take him down to the ground and have an easy day if that's what happens. But these guys are starting to get a little heated. They are starting to understand what's going on. DC, of course, did not want to fight Stipe Miocic at first, and Dana threw a little bit more money at him, and he's kind of like, yeah, I guess I'll do this. And he said he doesn't want to fight Cain Velasquez because that's his partner, but, that's his training partner. But then it's kind of like, he throws a little more money at him. We'll see what happens. He could be like, yeah, I want to do this again. And I think that's likely what will happen, to be honest. To be absolutely 100% honest, I think that's probably what's going to happen. But we don't know. We don't know 100% what they'll do. But we do know that, at least I hope we know it, it should be a great fight. On paper, it's an amazing fight. I'm looking forward to watching it. Everybody's looking forward to watching the fight. I don't know anybody who's not looking forward to watching the fight. That's a big part of this. And we've had some stars on this already. Luis Pena was injured, but they called him the Violent Bob Ross. I thought that guy was great. I thought he was absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed watching him. I thought that for sure he was probably going to end up getting a contract. He's going to get a fight, though. I know he's got a fight on that Ultimate Fighter finale card. I'm not sure who he's going to be fighting, but he does have a fight on that. So good for him. I thought he had a lot of talent, and, he showed it. He showed he had a lot of talent in his fights, and I'm not sure who he will be fighting in that, but I think he's top of the crop. He's top of the food chain as far as most of those guys are. I think he's probably talented than just about anybody else that got further actually than he did. But we'll see. One thing Ultimate Fighter does every year is it makes stars. Somebody gets a contract, somebody goes into the UFC, and they get a following. This Dana White Contender Series, obviously, yeah, they're getting a following, but they're not seeing them week in and week out. People have been watching these guys. They're going to be watching them for 12, 13 weeks. I mean, you take your favorites, you get tribal. Like on Dana White Contender Series last night. One of the guys from Kennewick, Washington, Austin, I can't remember his last name, but I lived there for a lot of my life. I lived in Eastern Washington over half my life, was born about 50 miles from there, lived in Kennewick, Washington for about 10 years. My children were born there. So I got a little tribal there. As far as that was concerned, I wanted him to win because he's from my area, and that's something else that the Ultimate Fighter still has And you can see that guy every single week. That's the big thing. Every single week you can see that guy. That's what's really important. Man, throughout the seasons, if this is the last season of Top, I mean, what was the best? I've been watching this since the absolute very beginning, from Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner, seeing Diego Sanchez grow in the house, and seeing his character, some of the strange cats that have been in there, some of the guys that have been on my show. Luke Como, he was thought of as kind of a strange cat, even though I like him. The dude is just such a nice freaking guy. And a lot of these guys were so approachable. Season 4, most fighters are approachable. Shoney Carter, he was in Season 4, The Comeback. Pete Spratt, he was in Season 4, The Comeback. These were guys that were already great, and they got a chance to come back to win a chance for a title. I'll tell you somebody who's not really approachable, and that's the brother of Leon Edwards that's fighting Donald Cerrone tomorrow, Fabian Edwards. I'm not going to go into the entire details of a thing, but let's just say I talked to him. I contacted him about an interview through some other people, and he blew me off and kind of acted like he was better than me. So it's like, whatever. And then I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is an anomaly. And then some of the things I hear Donald Cerrone saying about Leon Edwards is that the guy's just an asshole. And, I mean, he went hard on him. And, of course, I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow. Saturday. Tomorrow I'll be streaming Premier Fight League. Saturday, there's so much streaming this week, it's hard to keep track of everything. Saturday, though, we'll be doing UFC Singapore, and that's only on Fight Pass. There's only been a couple of these cards recently that are only on Fight Pass, but this is one of them. What's up, Pulse Reloaded? I hope I'm live. Can you see me? That's not the best question.
So Stipe and all the rest of the coaches, they all came over to watch UFC Orlando. It was cool.
You're scaring me, bro. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of other people on here. So, God, I hope I'm live. I hope they didn't cut my stream again. But yeah, I'm live. I was talking about what the great moments we've had in Ultimate Fighter history. All the guys that we've gotten on us. Nate Diaz, even though Nick was on there. All right, I see you. All right, thank you. Nate Diaz, even though Nick was on here first, Nate made his way on the Ultimate Fighter. So many guys have made their way on the Ultimate Fighter. And it would be kind of sad to see this thing go. I think that we might see a recess. I think we might see it go away a little bit and then reboot it in the future, kind of like an American Idol thing. I am interested to see what Disney would want to do with this, though. Disney and ESPN. I can't see them wanting to go with the format that they've had recently. What's going on, Henry Ford? It's Bryce Mitchell and Brad Katona. This is the semifinals of the Ultimate Fighter finale. Will be in the featherweight final. Whoever wins will be in the featherweight final on July 6th to see who will be the Ultimate Fighter at featherweight and who will get the UFC contract. So they're both undefeated, like everybody in here. Bryce Mitchell was the favorite to win this entire thing. 9-0 as a pro, 8 submissions. Brad Katona, he's kind of been a surprise in this one, and I like him. He's kind of like one of these nerd assassin guys. He reminds me, seems like a super nice guy, pretty laid back. And, you know, he's a little quirky. He's a little, I don't know what you want to call it. You know, he's a little quirky. That's a good word for it, though. Like a Luke Kumo or like a Diego Sanchez was. But I really like him. It's kind of hard not to root for him. He's definitely the underdog coming into this. I start making MMA and gaming content soon. Can I get a sub, Mike? Am I not sub to you, Pulse Reloaded? I thought I was. Absolutely. What's going on, Cap? All right. We're on now. Cap's in the house. Absolutely, Pulse. If I'm not sub to you, I will make sure I'm sub to you right now. Let me fix that immediately, sir. Pretty sure I am, though. But yeah, man, tomorrow is going to be such an incredible show. Such an incredible show. And I just found out, of course, man, thanks for being on here all the time. Thanks for subscribing to me. Young David, he came in and said hi for a second, and then he went back to playing video games. So, what's that, dude? Oh, he's making a D&D character. So he's doing something with games. I told him if he's going to keep living here, he's going to have to come on here more often. He said he wants to do some shows, something other besides MMA. So we might see him in his own show over there on Mike Reviews at all. Hey, we'll call it David Knows Everything. I'm just kidding you, son. We're always teasing him because he's always... he's a really smart kid, and a lot of times to my chagrin, he ends up being right about a lot of things when we argue. So, super smart kid, though. Man, I can't wait to see Kayla Harrison make her debut tomorrow, though. This girl is sensational. I was saying last night, judo has been an Olympic sport since 1964. The United States has had 2 gold medals in the sport ever. Ever. Male, female, anywhere. And one of them was Kayla Harrison in 2012. The other one was Kayla Harrison in 2016. We're going to get Will Brooks on there versus Louise Firmino. Ramsey Najim. You got a lot of good fighters on tomorrow, and the great thing that I just realized is that NBC Sports is going to be streaming the entire thing. They're going to stream 4 hours. So they're going to stream 4 hours worth from they're starting at 4 p.m. all the way to 8. So tomorrow I'll be streaming from 4 p.m. Until after 8. And I said that's a great card, the $10 million tournament. And they're doing a great job with it. I'm glad NBC Sports decided to go all the way in. Like, if we're going to do it, let's go ahead and do it. And they're going in with, you know, just like the UFC does, they'll do their prelims on FS1 and then their pay-per-view. But PFL will do, you know, the prelims and the main card all on NBC Sports. So if you don't have NBC Sports, get yourself one of these free trials to YouTube or, you know, Sling. DirecTV Now has got a pretty good deal right now. I think you can get the first 3 months for $10 a month. If DC wins, he said he'll retire. That will leave 2 division belts beltless. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely crazy. I think Yoel Romero goes up, and if DC's out of the picture and John Jones moves up to heavyweight like he's talked about, you know, besides Gustafson, if Yoel can get past Gustafson, he could dominate that division for a couple years until he retires or gets old. If that happens, I can see Yoel versus Gustafson for a 205 belt on the same page there, Cap. Yeah, Yoel, I could see Yoel getting pretty much an immediate title shot too, and obviously Gustafson deserves it. Yoel deserves it way before Rockhold does. I mean, Rockhold thinks he's going to jump right in there and get a title shot, coming off back-to-back losses. That just doesn't seem practical. Says Yoel can't hang at 205. I mean, Yoel does have some things holding him back at 205, mostly his height and his reach.
It's like nothing you've ever tasted before.
But Daniel Cormier is, he's a smaller guy too. He's not a super tall light heavyweight. He is taller than Yoel Romero. I believe Yoel Romero is like 5'9". Rewatch that Yoel versus Whitaker fight. Yoel clearly had 2 10-8 rounds. That's what I thought, Cap. That's what I believed, because the first time I went through at the end of it, I knew we'd had at least one. I knew at least one of them should be in a 10-8 round. I wasn't sure about the other one, and then I went through, and I think it was the second round, and it may have been even more dominant than the other one. So, yeah, I thought he got ripped off. Gus Manawan, imagine if Rumble comes back. Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Yoel Romero. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely insane. I'd love to see that fight. Yeah, Yoel could have some issues with him because Anthony Rumble is kind of a taller, longer version of Yoel Romero in ways. He's not going to touch his wrestling. Anthony Rumble Johnson's a very good wrestler, but Yoel Romero is absolute top of the food chain. There's John Jones, then there's DC, and then there's Yoel Romero. And whoever's third or whoever's fourth, excuse me, if DC sticks around, is very, very far behind. And I put Brock Lesnar in that category. Rumble will be a heavyweight. He's way too big for 205 now. I think Rumble should have pretty much always been a heavyweight. And I want to see Anthony Rumble and John Jones. They're saying when John Jones comes back, and they're working on trying to get him back, that he'll immediately fight Brock Lesnar. Imagine Rumble versus Nagano. No way. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Pulse. Give me a hard on. That would be that's an incredible fight. I hadn't even thought of that. That should have been the first thing that came to mind. He may not get past Derek Lewis. We're looking at a crazy fight with Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. And that guy has stopped so many people. Derek Lewis, I mean, he's got that show-stopping power too. And he's got good wrestling. Man, Rumble and Nagano, or even Rumble and Derek Lewis. There's a lot of great matchups for him at heavyweight. The best being John Jones, I think. But I think Anthony Rumble matches up well with Cain Velasquez, too. I'd like to see him in so many matches at heavyweight, if he were to come back. Of course. I'm going for Lewis for the upset. I think Lewis definitely has a very good chance. I'm not sure he should be that much of an underdog. Of course, you guys know I was pretty upset that Stipe Miocic was called the underdog in that fight going into the fight with Francis Ngannou. I thought it was ridiculous, and Stipe ended up out wrestling him and dominating him, and that's kind of what I had thought. Not that I didn't like Francis Ngannou or that I didn't want him to win. I mean, he's a great story. He's got almost superhuman power. But at the end of the day, everybody should have known Stipe Miocic was a more complete fighter, and that's your champion. So, but yeah, Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou, that's coming up real soon, though, man. Might not lost 30 seconds. You're right, man. That's so psychotic. that fight is just so psychotic. That might be better than the main event. That might be the best fight on the whole damn card. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. And that's another stacked card. This is going to be a big test, though, to see if the UFC can really sell this $65 pay-per-view. I say no. I say it ruins the pay-per-view eventually, or they do something else. But, I mean, this one may sell because you got, obviously, Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. You got Max Holloway and Brian Ortega. Then you got Francis Ngannou and Lewis. You got Michael Chiesa and Anthony Pettis. Yeah, Gokhan Saki versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. to round out the main event. All solid guys on the main card. Thank God this time. We don't have any, CM Punk or Mike Jackson caliber guys on the main card. Yeah, Chiesa Pettis, I like that fight too, man. And even the undercard. Uriah Hall versus Paul Costo. We haven't seen Uriah Hall in a little while. And Paul Costo's been on a tear. He's 11-0. You got a guy that's never in a boring fight, Yancy Medeiros, against another guy who's really not ever in a boring fight, and Mike Perry on the prelims. That's an incredible fight. You got Curtis Millender versus Max Griffin. That's another great fight. Max Griffin, of course, from Dana White Contender Series last year. Those guys are both studs. Rafael Asenkow, I think is how you say it, versus Rob Font. Rafael, number 335-pounder. That guy's a killer. So there's really no weak moments on this card. This should sell a lot. If this doesn't sell, I say if this doesn't sell 600,000 pay-per-views, though, it proves that people don't want to pay that $65. I think it's a huge disappointment if it doesn't sell at least 600,000 pay-per-views. Final numbers for UL versus Whitaker, almost final, I guess, came out. As official as we're going to get, probably, it looks like about 250,000 buys. And that's right up there with a regular Demetrius Johnson defense. And Demetrius Johnson's been criticized that he can't draw people. So, what do I think of Greg Hardy? I think he can hit like a tank, man. And I think everybody deserves a second chance. I don't know what the deal was with his allegations before. I know he had some attitude issues in the NFL, some discipline issues. He seemed very grateful in his interview. He seemed, really grateful to be there to talk to Dana White. It was kind of funny seeing him talking to Dana White. He seemed almost starstruck. And this is a guy that was in the NFL for how many years? I don't know what the allegations were against his girlfriend because she dropped him and didn't go to court. I hope they weren't true. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. She didn't go to court. If they were true, then I have a really hard time rooting for that guy because obviously that's one of those things that's hard to come back from. That's one of the big ones. Domestic violence, you hit a woman, especially an MMA fighter, or, a super athlete like an NFL guy. So, and I don't know what consists of domestic abuse. There's been women in the past, and I'm not going to say this girl's a liar or anything, but there's two sides to every story, and some women out there are just crazy. Some women are just crazy, like that girl that Aziz Ansari dated. And that girl's absolutely nuts. Aziz Ansari, I think, is one of the nicest guys out there. And she has a relationship with him, a sexual relationship, totally consensual, and then is a bitch about it later and calls him out. So, you never know what's going on with people. Would you rather Amanda versus Holly or Amanda versus Cyborg? I'd rather see Amanda versus Cyborg, definitely. definitely. And of course, Saturday, Cowboy Donald Cerrone versus Leon Edwards. That is crazy. Do you guys know why Donald Cerrone is so pissed off at Leon Edwards? I mean, he's saying he's an asshole, and I'm going to try and bring it up and look at some of what he says. But Donald Cerrone seems like a pretty nice guy. So he said a little bit more about him. He says, Donald Cerrone has advice for arrogant, cocky motherfucker Leon Edwards. This is on MMAfighting.com. I've seen this on several other sites. But they asked him, in an interview, and he said he's a real arrogant, cocky motherfucker, to be honest with you. Cerrone said of Edwards to MMA Fighting. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not too impressed with him at all. I'll say his brother, Fabian Edwards, I don't want to say a whole lot, but I'll just say I've had an experience with him. I'll call it that. I want to watch my words. But I've had an experience with his brother, Fabian Edwards. We talked online, an experience between me and somebody else in MMA that hooked me up with him, and he kind of came off as an arrogant, cocky, you-know-what, like Donald Cerrone said. So, maybe it runs in the family. When Donald Cerrone says something, I'm kind of inclined to believe him. He's been around long enough. He's not one of these guys that just goes running his mouth. He went on to say, we're out doing a media tour. He was just really vocal and angry the whole time. Just wanted to be mad. It had nothing but just rude-ass comments to say, Cerrone explained. I was like, damn, man, I'm a fucking veteran in this sport. You're talking about you're going to steamroll me, and I'm old. You're new. And it's like, damn, okay, sure. I told you, you're going to have to go home and tell your mama an old slow dude beats your ass. That's all right, though. He's not that bold. He's not talking shit to my face like that, Cerrone said. I'll beat the F out of anybody. I'll have him kick the shit out of you. Let's not get that confused. So, I like an emotional Donald Cerrone coming in there. He's been a slow starter in the past sometimes. I'd like to see a fired up Donald Cerrone coming in there, and I think he is. All right, here's this main event. Bryce Mitchell's just 23 years old. 5'10", 145 pounds, 70-inch reach. His opponent, 26 years old, 65-inch reach, 145-pounders. Here we go. Mitchell in the black, Katona in the orange. And this is for, this is for the next entry into the tournament, into the finals tournament. Oh, nice leg kick there from Katona, but Mitchell lands a nice 1-2 there. A straight left from the southpaw Mitchell. Katona, the orthodox, Mitchell, the southpaw here. Katona's got some very good leg kicks. Of course, Bryce Mitchell, I said, one of the brightest prospects in the country. I kind of wanted to see Kyle the Monster Nelson on this. I'm not sure if because he's fighting. Oh, nice left hook from Katona. We've seen, Katona come on here from Canada, and he's got a great team behind him. He's been training out of Ireland. Katona gets a nice takedown there. And Bryce is on the bottom. We're going to see what he's going to do from his guard. This guy's a submission specialist. As a professional, he was 9-0 with 8 submissions. He's already had a couple submissions in the house. He's working, he's in the half guard, and he's got his right leg up high in a rubber guard position. Mitchell's trying to move to side mount here. Or jump guard, which is going to be very hard, and he did. He's still got that leg barely caught in here. He almost had side mount. He almost had north-south for a second, too. And now he's going for a guillotine. Katona's kind of got a guillotine on, but he's on a bad angle. Oh, and Mitchell, big mistake, actually just turned into it. Oh, but he's out. apparently he knew what he was doing, and Mitchell just rolled him, and Mitchell's now in side control. And this is not a guy you want on top of you. Katona trying to get up here, but you know, Bryce Mitchell's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is one of the best at 145 in the world. This is a UFC, definitely a UFC caliber fight right here between these guys. And I imagine the winner and the loser we'll get to see in the UFC. The loser at least a little bit. Bryce working from that half guard. Or excuse me, Katona on top. Rolled Mitchell over. He's working from that half guard now. Mitchell throwing shots from the bottom, which never really works out well for anybody. Katona, nice ground and pound. Nice left hook from the top there. And he's in Mitchell's open guard here. He just jumped to half guard. Mitchell's trying to grab that arm. Looked like Mitchell was getting up again. Good job of Katona pushing him back down. Lands a nice left hook in the ground and pound. Mitchell's got a wrist there. Oh, and Katona takes us back. Mitchell made a mistake, but now Mitchell stands up, though. Katona's got his back there, and now we turn him up against the fence. And you got Katona pushing Mitchell up against the fence, and now Mitchell pushes him back, throws a knee, Katona turns him back into the fence. Let's stand and bang, guys, if we're not going to get a finish on the ground, though. Let's stand and bang. Nice knees to the body there from Katona. And they break, and they go to the center of the cage with 1:10 seconds left in the round. Nice leg kick there from Katona. Yeah, I like underdogs. Who doesn't? But, oh, that was a beautiful leg kick from Katona. He's got some nice, really low ankle kicks. Nice left hook up top from Katona. Another nice leg kick there. Mitchell lands a nice right hook over the top. I got Katona winning this first round already, though. Another nice leg kick from Katona. But, you know, as I've said in the past, I don't really feel like judges know how to really what to think about leg kicks a lot. So we'll see what they do with that. Katona goes for the leg kick, and Mitchell shoots for the takedown. We'll see if he's able to get it. Katona's fighting it off. He's got one leg wrapped up. He's not chaining it together. And Katona was put his back against the fence, but Bryce Mitchell with a great agoshi there. Beautiful hip throw from up against the fence there, and now he's on top of Katona in his guard. Lands a nice left hand, and that's a beautiful spot to end the round. After just getting the takedown and a nice throw and being on top, Bryce Mitchell might have turned it around and stole the round there in the last few seconds. I was really hoping Katona would win that round because he'd worked hard for it. But beautiful throw by Bryce Mitchell. He wasn't able to get the judo throw, and then he was able, or excuse me, the wrestling throw, and then he was able to get that beautiful judo throw, goshi hip throw. And like I've said before, though, I'm so excited about tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. or 4 p.m. Pacific. Can't speak tonight. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, it's all on NBC Sports. They're going to show 4 hours worth. So that's exciting. Trying to bring up this entire card here. But there's so many guys on this card. It's pretty incredible. Kayla Harrison talked about how great she thought Premier Fighting League was for the sport, for the future of fighters getting paid, and UFC definitely needs some competition. You guys seen I had some not so kind words for Dana on a video I did recently. Just, can we start paying the fighters, please? And there's a few people getting paid, but not like they should be. Not like the UFC is making money. And this whole thing with the weigh-in thing is just absolutely strange. I mean, it's a tell of two stories, but it's one person telling one story and hundreds of other people telling another story. As far as I've seen so far, maybe you guys have seen something I haven't seen. Not one fighter has came out and said that they were in favor of this 4 o'clock weigh-in. But Dana White said he talked to hundreds of fighters, and the majority of them were in favor of the 4 o'clock weigh-in. So I'm super confused. And hats off to Al. Hats off to Al Iaquinta really calling Dana White out. I mean, he really put his contract on the line for sure. When is my next Flat Earth video coming out? I was really excited because I was at, actually a couple days ago, I was excited. I was at this book sale. And I seen a book, and it was on some Flat Earth guy. But it was way more money than I wanted to pay. So I thought, man, it can really, I could wrap this up really nice, put it in a bow and send it to Bailey. So I know he's really into that thing, and he's really deep in his flat earth beliefs. But it was just a little bit too much. I love you, man, but it was like $30-some. It was one of the top guys, though. I'm sure you would have known who he was. Yeah, Bailey's he kind of worships these flat earth guys. 13 bout lineup, though, tomorrow for PFL's second event. Like I said, Luis Firmino versus Will Brooks. Kayla Harrison making her debut. We'll get back to this in a minute. The fight's on. Nice left hand. Oh, and nice. Bryce Mitchell comes out faster this time. Goes for the head kick. Katona blocks it. Just a few seconds into this, Bryce Mitchell, he might have pulled out that last round with that takedown and a couple shots there at the end. Nice leg kick there from Katona. I said Katona's kind of this, known as kind of like this nerd assassin. He's kind of an eccentric dude. Real nice guy, though. They clash legs in the middle of the cage there after Mitchell lands a nice left hand. Another nice low leg kick from Katona. Katona throws those leg kicks so low, it's very hard to pick them off, even for a really good wrestler. I mean, you can see the redness on the back of Mitchell's Achilles. They call it the fucking Achilles heel for a reason. Nice right hand there for Mitchell. But these guys start aiming. They start getting good at aiming, and they're striking that Achilles heels with these low kicks that are, it's almost like a sweep low kick. And we've seen it a lot of times. We've actually seen a lot of knockdowns come from these leg kicks lately because they are more like a sweep. Mitchell almost took Katona down there. He's got him up there against the fence. Almost went for another judo throw. But no life, low life, Stewie. What's going on, Stewie? I'm an oblong spheroid kind of guy. Hot dog shape of the earth. What do you think about all the shape of all the other planets that we've seen, Bailey? No, we won't get into that. That's getting kind of weird. But nice knee to the body there from Mitchell. And Katona turns Mitchell back into the fence. Beautiful elbow there from Katona off the fence, and he cut Mitchell. Mitchell's bleeding. I don't know if it's just from his nose. I can't see the angle. Oh, nice left hook there from Mitchell. And Katona's nose is definitely bleeding. This is a battle. And this is anybody's fight. You can tell these guys, nice left hook there from Katona. So these guys are fighting for the contact right now. Straight right hand lands for Katona. Head kick lands for Katona. That grazed him. Mitchell blocked some of that, but some of that definitely got through. Jump left hook for Katona. Nice jab. Whoever wins this, Bryce Mitchell came in as one of the top prospects, 145-pounders in the country. Brad Katona, not a lot of people gave him a lot of a chance. Even if he doesn't win this thing, man, has the Ultimate Fighter been good for him. And that's what the Ultimate Fighter has done. as in for these guys that were underestimated, like Luke Kumo, pick last. Bryce Mitchell throws a wild left hand there and misses. Katona lands a nice leg kick there. Nice body kick for Katona and a right-left hook. Another right hook for Katona. Again, Katona seems to be winning the early part of the round. We'll see if Mitchell's able to come back and steal it again like he possibly did the last round. I'm not saying he did, but there's a good chance he did. Nice jabs there from Katona. Lands that low leg kick again. Mitchell just touches him with that straight right hand. Oh, nice body shot there from Katona. He throws a left right hand and barely misses a big left hook there. Oh, and Mitchell gets the takedown, and he's in Katona's open guard. And there it is again. Katona, Mitchell pounding to the body in the ground and pound there. He wants to win this round. And looking eerily similar to the last round. Katona seemed to win most of the beginning of the round. Mitchell, oh, Katona just spun. He almost had a triangle there, though. Now he's going for an armbar. How much credit, if this goes to the decision, how much credit will the referees or the judges give Katona for these submission attempts? Because Mitchell got the takedown, really didn't do anything with it, and Katona's being very aggressive. Nice up kick there, too. Heel to chin. And Mitchell kind of a little leery of coming in there, and Katona hits him with another up kick. Very interesting round. That's kind of my feeling, Cap. That's kind of my feeling coming into this, that they would give it to Mitchell. And he's the big star. He's 23 years old. I really like Katona, man. I hope he stays in the UFC, though. I hope they give him a shot and he gets a few fights. I'd like to see him in there again in the finals against whoever gets in there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two fight again eventually, no matter who wins. But I think we get another round here, right? Before they used to do the Ultimate Fighter, they did 2 rounds, and then if it was a draw, they would go to a 3rd round. It's a semifinal, so we should be getting another round here. Let's look at that Premier Fight League card tomorrow, though. Like I said, 4 hours tomorrow. We got a lot of familiar names on here. Main event is Luis Firmino versus Will Brooks. Jason High was supposed to fight Rashid Magomedov. Magomedov had to back out because of injury. 13 fights, though, and only 1 fight canceled. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Brian Foster versus Ramsey Najim. That's a great fight. Kayla Harrison making her debut against a girl that's 3-4, but I think she comes out and destroys. Said she's been motivated by Rousey, Nunez, and Yachenchek. That's what she said in 2016 after she won the gold medal. She took a few months after winning that gold medal and said, I missed this competition thing. I'm a little burnt out on judo, but I need something more. So, 27 years old, she's still got plenty of time for an MMA career. We got Thiago Tavares on this card, on the undercard too. Vinny Magalhaes, guy who spent some time in Bellator and I believe a stint in the UFC. Maxim Grishin, Islam Mammadov, I believe had at least 1 fight in the UFC. Some very good fighters on here, but the cream of the crop, obviously, you know, Brian Foster versus Ramsey Najim, and then, you know, Will Brooks versus Luis Firmino. Will Brooks has got to be the favorite to win the whole $10 million. I don't know if Jason Hyde, they're going to have another opponent for him. He was supposed to fight Rashid Magomedov. I'm assuming that they probably have alternates sticking by since this is a tournament for a lot of money. And I'm looking forward to seeing Thiago Tavares again. That should be great. Hey, David, for old time's sake, you want to grab me a beer? There's one in the big fridge there. Please, thank you. I don't think the ones in the small fridge are cold yet. All right, here we go. We're going to have a third round here. It just seems like such a weird medium watching things on cable TV now, and you hear them bleeping out swear words. Everybody knows what you said. Just say the fucking word. It's ridiculous, and I love when they bleep it out, and it's like you can hear the F and you can hear the end of the K.
It's because people just leave TVs running, and you never like.
Nice right hand there from Katona. Get on in here, David. Hey,
it's because they just. It's because people just leave TVs running with a program on, and then it ends in the next program, and they just leave them running, and they might not like. They have to do it on TV.
Nice right hand there from Katona.
Kind of on, so a kid could just walk in, or it could go to another program when it was kids watching it or something. Like people just let their TVs run. Yeah,
same thing with YouTube though. But Katona goes for the takedown there, pushes Mitchell up against the fence there. YouTube. Mitchell reverses him, pushes Katona back up against the fence. You got about 4 minutes left. Bailey says I shouldn't cuss in front of you. Oh, we got a lot of blood coming from somewhere, and Katona's going for a guillotine here on Mitchell. But I'm trying to figure out where all this blood's coming from. Mitchell gets a beautiful takedown there. I think it might have been a clash of heads. Katona's trying to get back up. Mitchell's on top of him. I think it's coming still from Katona's nose. His nose is bleeding pretty badly. That's not something that's going to be in danger of stopping a fight unless he gets that referee that ref the last felony fight. That guy might stop a fight for a bloody nose if he's paying attention. Nice body shots in the top for Mitchell. And, you know, Mitchell having a better round here. He's a veteran. Everybody knew he was a great prospect. Katona could still pull this out. But Mitchell starting to dominate this round, landing some nice ground and pound there. And even though that bloody nose, it's not a danger of stopping the fight for Katona, but it certainly doesn't help your breathing. And then Mitchell smartly going to the body on top of it. You know, and that's something, you got a guy with a bloody nose like that. I mean, it sounds kind of disgusting, but these guys have all been tested. I would kind of lay on top of him and suffocate him a little bit. Oh, Katona going for an armbar from the bottom. He's got a hook. He's got an arm. He's turning the right way, though. He's staying calm. He's doing everything he needs to do here. Katona does not have the other side of the body locked up there. Oh, he might have it now, though. He's got a partner. He's got this armbar. He's very close to having this armbar. Mitchell stands up there. And he has to stand up and try to slam him. Katona being relentless. He does not get the armbar. But Katona being coached by the great John Kavanaugh. Possibly one of, if not the best grappling coach on the planet right now. That guy creates killers. Beautiful right hook from Katona. And you can tell, you know, his training's paying off for Katona. Kids came so far so quickly. 0 videos that are reviews. Care to elaborate? It's coming, man. Nice left hook there from Katona. It's a new channel. It's coming. What would you like me to review, Bailey? Mitchell going for a choke from the bottom there. Nice elbow from the top from Katona. And this time Katona is on top with a minute left. Mitchell trying to grab an arm there. But, he's got side control now. If he can get that one leg out of there, he could. And he kind of almost jumps back into Mitchell's guard. Oh, Mitchell trying to get up there. And Katona's got his back. This, if he can get hooks in, this is not good. Oh, this is not good for Mitchell. Katona's got an arm underneath. And it's over. Bryce Mitchell, you were a great prospect, but Brad Katona pulls off the amazing upset. Sleeper hold submission, and Brad Katona is in the finals of the Featherweight Ultimate Fighter finale. And I now have a reason to be excited about the Ultimate Fighter finale. I really like this kid. It's hard to not be biased about him. Oh, I thought it was your old channel. I did do mic reviews at all. Yeah, it was my first channel. I did have a lot of reviews on there. When Fights with Friends was more successful, fighting was what was getting me my subscriptions. I decided to go to that. A few people, Zoltan, a few other people said that they liked some of the other videos I did. Also, some of the guys that my main two guests that were on there, Ryan the Savage and Garth the Cosmos. If you've seen some of those old videos, they've wanted to do some things with me, and I had a lot of fun with it, so I decided I'm going to get back with those guys. And the mother-in-law's leaving, so I'm moving upstairs and taking over that bedroom, making it into a big office for my channel, so those guys can come up here and we can do some other things. What a great victory, though. Great victory for Brad Katona. I do feel bad for Bryce Mitchell. I do feel, like I said, I go for the underdog, but I do really feel bad for these guys that come in with a ton of hype. They work hard and they get caught. At this level, anybody can catch you. You know, Daniel Cormier said he had thought it was 1-1 after the first 2 rounds. Well, you're not here, Bailey, so it's being cleaned up. You can sleep on the couch with the dog like you have been. Actually, it's your turn to bathe the dog, by the way, too. No, I'll be doing some more reviews there. I'm working on my first weapons of mass discussion. I'm doing a lot of research. It's going to be on basically the myths of marijuana and the United States war on marijuana throughout the world. And like I said, throughout the world, they went to Colombia. They spread it all over the world, and they've been doing this for 100 years, almost. Definitely since 1910, the Mexican Civil War, they racialized marijuana. I know this is an MMA stream, so we can come back to that later. But if you guys have anything, you know, that you want to contribute to that, and any research, any thoughts on it, feel free to email me at Fights with Friends. Man, that was a fun one. I love seeing an upset, and I love seeing a great fight. That was a great fight. It was a great submission. And Brad Katona, this dude's got to be on top of the world. I think he's one of the last guys that they thought was going to win this thing, to be quite honest. And these guys get along well. They get along good. These guys were both Daniel Cormier's guys, so he couldn't really coach anybody. Same thing happened with Stipe Miocic last week. I think it was the welterweight fight to get into the semifinals. They were both Stipe's guys. Now DC gets to see how that feels, and kind of a bittersweet thing. One of his guys wins, one of his guys has to lose. But both these guys have got bright futures. Bryce Mitchell, you know, he's down right now, but he's got nothing to be ashamed of. I said 9-0, 8 submissions as a pro, represented himself very well in the Ultimate Fighter. I think you're right, Cap. I think Bryce Mitchell, I think they would have ended up giving him, you know, the decision next week. Alan Zuniga versus Joe Giannetti. And that's going to be the second semifinal. That should be good. Don't forget tomorrow, 4 p.m. though. This is Tough Talk. I like Michael Bisping as an analyst. I know I've said that before. I wasn't a fan of him as a fighter for a lot of years. I warmed up to him there towards the end. But I really like him as an analyst. He's entertaining. You got to have, it's nice to know the facts. It's nice to know fighting, but man, you got to have some emotion. You got to have somebody in there that acts like they really care, somebody with some great insight, and Michael Bisping's just such a freaking smartass. And the guy, he definitely gets underneath people's skin. I've heard some funny stories about him throughout the years, and he did, if nobody's seen it yet, he did officially retire. So he is done. Unfortunately, he was waiting to get that eye fixed that got injured against Vitor Belfort until after he was done fighting. Unfortunately, he got his other eye injured somehow, and that was the end of it. At that point, he's like, "I'm done, man. That's it." So that really sucks to see a legend go out like that, but I'm glad that he has something to fall back on. I said he's a great entertaining commentator. He's got his own podcast. He does great on that. And he's got a huge following. He's got a huge following over there in England. He's doing movies. Why fight at this point? Why even fight, honestly? And they got Brad Katona there on Tough Talk with Karen Bryant and Michael Bisping. Oh, it's an exclusive clip of next week's Ultimate Fighter. And they go to the troll booth. Who's in the troll booth? Oh my God. I was hoping Luis Pena would come on there. That's my favorite guy out of this. Brad Katona might be my favorite guy now, though. Man, I said I really like that guy. Represented himself really well. I can't wait to see Bryce Mitchell fight again also. We got a long day tomorrow, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's all on NBC Sports. Professional Fight League, PFL 2, second week. All these guys are on their first go-around for this tournament, though. And Kayla Harrison makes her debut, and she's already talking smack. She says, MMA fighters are afraid of me. She said that to TMZ. She's 27 years old, out of Middleton, Ohio. Says she's ready to make the switch from judo to MMA. I can't wait to see her. She's a bigger girl than Ronda. She's more like Amanda Nunez's build, or even like a Chris Cyborg. She fought at 156, 78 kilograms, basically about 155. She walks, or 165, excuse me. She walks around now at about 156, she said. She's going to fight at 155 tomorrow. They said she definitely can make 145. She didn't want to have to cut weight for her first fight. The girl she's going against already has 7 professional fights. But she's already saying MMA fighters are afraid of her. And there's good reason to be. I said 2-time gold medalist. You thought Ronda was good at judo. She's been training for 2 years for this. She's been putting together the entire game. She's fighting Brittany Elkin. Brittany's fought on Bellator recently. Now she's over here on the PFL. Kayla says, I have 500 judo matches under my belt. I have some experience, just not with a lock cage behind me. She said, I'm kind of a bull. It's going to take a lot more than one punch to take me down. I can't wait. I can't wait for that fight. I can't wait to see her debut. I can't wait to see Will Brooks in there again. Like I said, I think he's the favorite to win this thing. I'm going to start wrapping this up. Get young David to bed. No. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. I know the Ultimate Fighter, some of it's lost a little bit of polish, but that was a great fight tonight. That was really fun. Hope everybody's on here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I said, I can't wait. That is an absolutely stunning card. I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. As always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see you fine asses later.